Israel erupts, a nation divided amidst Gaza conflict and political turmoil. Tens of thousands of Israelis have poured into the streets, their collective roar echoing a nation grappling with a multifaceted crisis. The scenes are dramatic, a stark tableau of a deeply fractured society, torn between the brutality of the ongoing Gaza conflict and a simmering outrage against the right-wing government led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The protests are not simply about the war. They represent a profound disillusionment with the very fabric of Israeli democracy. The immediate spark igniting this powder keg was Netanyahu's controversial attempt to dismiss Ronen Bar, the head of the Shin Bet, Israel's internal security agency. This move, perceived by many as a blatant power grab, has fueled existing anxieties and accusations of authoritarian overreach. However, the protests are far from solely focused on this single event. The decision to shatter a 2-month-old fragile truce in Gaza, unleashing waves of devastating airstrikes, has poured gasoline onto the flames of public anger. The narrative emerging from the streets is one of betrayal. Protesters vehemently accuse Netanyahu of prolonging the Gaza conflict for purely political gain, a cynical maneuver to deflect attention from domestic scandals and shore up his increasingly precarious position. They paint a picture of a government prioritizing self-preservation over the well-being of its citizens, both those directly impacted by the war and those increasingly concerned about the erosion of democratic norms. This government has once again started a war to protect itself, to divert attention from issues troubling the Israeli public, asserts Eitan Herzl, CEO of the Brothers in Arms protest movement, a sentiment echoed across the demonstration sites. They've lost all legitimacy. They are failing on every front. The accusations are stark. A government sacrificing its own people and its democratic principles on the altar of political expediency. The legal ramifications of Netanyahu's actions are equally contentious. While the government possesses the authority to dismiss Bar, the manner in which it's attempting to do so is being widely criticized. Dr. Amir Fuchs, a legal expert at the Israel Democracy Institute, points out, the government must still comply with administrative law. A conflict of interest, for instance, could be halted by the Supreme Court. This legal uncertainty only intensifies the sense of a government operating outside the bounds of established norms. Adding fuel to the fire are ongoing investigations into alleged breaches of national security by Netanyahu's close associates. The Shin Bet, an agency with sweeping powers, is actively investigating claims of classified information being leaked to foreign media outlets and accusations of financial impropriety involving Qatar, a nation known for providing substantial financial aid to Hamas. The recent interrogation of new suspects in the Qatargate affair by Israeli police, as reported by local media, further underscores the gravity of these allegations. The timing of these investigations, intertwined with the Gaza conflict and the attempt to dismiss Bar, has fueled speculation of a deliberate attempt to suppress potential threats to the Prime Minister's power. Critics argue that Netanyahu is attempting to consolidate his control by silencing potential dissenters, both within his own government and within the wider Israeli security apparatus. The protests represent more than just opposition to a specific policy or leader. They represent a deep-seated fear for the future of Israeli democracy. The protesters' concerns extend beyond the immediate crisis in Gaza. They are wrestling with the broader question of whether the country's fundamental democratic institutions are being systematically undermined. The cries for a ceasefire in Gaza are intertwined with cries to protect the integrity of Israeli democracy itself. The streets of Israel are echoing with the voices of a nation demanding accountability, transparency, and a return to the principles upon which the state was founded. The images of tens of thousands marching, a sea of faces expressing anger, fear, and disillusionment, capture a nation at a crossroads, its future hanging in the precarious balance. The coming weeks and months will be crucial in determining whether Israel can navigate this complex crisis and emerge stronger, or whether the current trajectory will lead to further instability and division. The stakes are undeniably high. The fate of a nation hangs in the balance. The international community watches with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution that prioritizes the well-being of all involved and upholds the fundamental principles of democracy and human rights.